Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevett, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also a hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason Gobelli, and welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. We're excited today, although we're missing Scott because he had a fire in his place last night. So silence for Scott, if you keep him in your prayers or whatever. But today we got a great guest. We got Anna Maria Slater. So Anna, how are you?
Hi, Jason. I'm good. Thank you. Good. Excited to be here.
Great. Welcome to the show. We're excited to have you here. And we want to start off quick and fast. So our first question is, who are you and what do you do?
Okay. Well, you've already introduced me. I'm Anna Maria Slater. I'm originally from London, but I've been living in Liverpool, UK for the last 40 years. I am a hypnotherapist. I do reiki and a whole load of other things. I've been working with people for many, many years. I do a lot of work in my local community, either free or very low cost. It's a very low income community. It's a mixed community, a large proportion of Black people. So there's a lot of specific issues here and there's low income. So it's my pleasure to work where I can within my community. I'm one of 3 organisers of an organisation or a group called Ubuntu, which is Liverpool's Black Wellbeing collective. We work on that also for free. We don't receive any income from that. And what we're trying to do basically is to reach as deep into the community as we can. And we get some money rolling in and we pay other people to give taster sessions, to give therapies, to give all sorts of different events to the local community. We're trying to start a well-being revolution because let's face it, especially with COVID as like the final straw for a lot of people, mental and emotional health it's taken a bit of a beating over the last few years.
Nice. So this is a nonprofit organization that you have going on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And so what is the impact so far? Have you noticed a difference and how does it feel to make that impact?
It's great. I mean, it brings many rewards. Money's not everything. Obviously, you have to have money to survive. But what we do because we have a great passion for our community. We have a lot of belief in the strength and the incredible resilience of our community. I mean, Liverpool's Black community goes back over 300 years. It's a very, very historical community, long-standing families. It's a very mixed community. So what we try and work with is to work through some of the trauma, it's a very racialized community, very marginalized community. And that coupled with poverty brings its own issues. So what we get, the feedback we get is it's fantastic, to go out into the community and work when we have open days, as many as 250 or 300 people come. And everyone's smiling at the end. Everyone's had a good day. Everyone's like made connections with other people. And that's really key for me. None of us can progress without connection. Connection is the first step. If you're isolated, you're never going to come to terms with your own issues, with your own day-to-day challenges. So that sense of connection for me is very, very important.
Nice. Well, speaking of connection, let's talk about your connection. So where do you get your connection to healing and stuff like this? And where does this come from?
Oh, that's a question, isn't it? I don't know. I think part of it, I think we all have an innate ability. I think we're born with an extraordinary amount of abilities, all of us. I think that the school system, work life, societal pressure and expectations, I think a lot of us lose sight of who and what we are as babies, as children. So when I was at school, kids would come up to me and say, Anna, put your hands on me. I've got a headache, or I've got a pain, or I've got toothache. Put your hands on me, make it go away. So I don't know where that came from. It was just very, very instinctive. It was only later in life that I learned that some people call it faith healing. There's other systems. I am a Reiki practitioner. For me, it's all much one and the same. I don't think it's my ability. I do believe that we're tuning into something greater, whether it's God, the universe, however you choose to view it. So I suppose the whole thing of working with people, healing, I don't know. It's just always been there, and I love it. I don't like to think of myself as a healer, though. All any of us can really do is give people the tools to heal themselves. Even as a hypnotherapist, I can't actually get inside your brain, can I, Jason, and sort out issues, or I can only suggest to you that you might want to do that and help you find the way for you to do that. And it's different with everyone you work with.
So you feel like you were born with it too, kind of. So do you have that connection? And what do you call it?
I don't know. I suppose I take it for granted. I mean, I don't think that it's any big thing. A lot of people that I know have it in different ways. You talk to some people and you just get a very calming effect and influence from them. Other people walk into the room and they make you smile. We've all got wonderful gifts that we share with other people, often quite unconsciously. So I don't know what I would call it, is the honest truth.
So what's your gift?
I don't know. I'm still learning. 58 years old and I'm still finding out. I don't know. I mean, I just love to work with people. I love to be around people. The idea of being stuck in an office or some kind of job where I was isolated, or the thought of living somewhere isolated. Quiet, yeah, quiet's nice as I've got older, but not isolated. I just love people. I just think people are extraordinary creatures, and you learn every day. If you smile at people in the street, they smile back. And these are the things that we're losing and forgetting. I don't know what it's like where you are, but like in England, the communities have been very fractured and broken down. And it was really, again, going back to COVID, that really hit in with me. You'd see people in the street and they'd almost look nervous of you, like you're a plague carrier or something. So I started smiling at people in the street. And even though you had to wear the mask, you smile, it shows in your eyes, So I started smiling at everyone that I saw. And I still do it because 99 out of 100 people will smile back. So I don't know what that is either, but yeah. I've gone off on a total tangent, but
Well, I have a feeling that you were smiling long before COVID. And
yeah.
Yeah, and I also have a feeling that you have multiple things, because from what you shared, you were laying hands on people when you were a young kid, even at this point. So how does it feel, or where do you feel this connection from inside where you can get in touch with this to help heal people or help them heal themselves?
I don't know. I suppose because I've done it from childhood, I don't question it. So I don't really narrow it down. I do call, when I do a Reiki session, I call that Reiki, and I've got my little therapy room, and I have a chair there for the hypnotherapy. I get the collapsible massage bed out if I'm doing a Reiki session, kind of multi-purpose little room, also doubles as the spare bedroom. But so when I'm doing Reiki, I call it Reiki. But if I'm just talking to somebody, sometimes you feel someone's anxiety and stress. If it's somebody I know, I'll just sit and put my hand on their leg or hold their hand. And I don't necessarily think it's a gift. I just think that human contact, if you come with an open heart to somebody, I mean, you can't grab a stranger's hand, but if somebody that you know, if you just touch them, just put your hand on the shoulder or your hand on their hand, you're conveying that love, that strength.
So that healing power is love then?
Oh, definitely.
And so do you mix that love with the Reiki and hypnosis? Do you mix it all together and does it all become like a mix, a mesh for you?
Oh, definitely. One, it's full of juicy goodness always. Yeah, I mix it all up. If I'm doing hypnosis, the Reiki kind of just goes with. Um, I was taught originally many years ago that you have to ask permission from somebody to give them Reiki. But as I've sort of grown and evolved, I actually don't think that's true. Because if I want to send Reiki to somebody, their higher self will accept or not accept that energy. Their higher self will use that energy as they see fit, as it's needed for that person. I can't force that energy onto somebody, but I do think it's love. Love is the highest vibration. It has to be. And the whole universe is vibrational, isn't it? That's science. We know that. The highest vibration has to be love.
So do you feel like Reiki is your love language?
Interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I guess to a large degree it is, yeah.
And so when did you have this like aha moment? Like, man, I can really make an effect and help people and change lives.
Oh, okay. So the first kind of aha moment, mine have all come through trauma, personal trauma. So the first aha moment was really when my partner unfortunately developed quite a bad problem with alcohol. And we were running a bar at the time, which meant that he had limitless 24-hour a day access to alcohol. So my world kind of spiraled into this state of chaos. And I met a woman quite randomly at a night out with a friend that I'd been invited to, and I didn't want to go. I wasn't feeling good. I was like, and he's so stressed. And I'd gone along, and this woman just leant across the table and she did what I do with people. She put her hand on mine and she says, I can help you. She didn't know anything about me. She said, I can help. And she wrote down her phone number and she said, call me tomorrow morning and come and see me. So I called her and I went to see her. And she said, have you ever had Reiki? And I was like, no. But I knew Reiki was similar to maybe what I'd been doing since a kid. So she gave me a Reiki session and it just kind of went from there. So out of that time of chaos in my life, that trauma that I was going through, that's when I really discovered Reiki and really like took off and love using it. I think it's a beautiful, wonderful energy. And I don't think, again, that it's a personal gift or a personal power. You're tuning into something universal. I'm not sending that energy. It's the universe. And the main really big aha moment actually happened when my husband died just before COVID. And I was suddenly plunged into living in this huge, chaotic apartment over our bar, full of good memories, bad memories, full of my bereavement, my grief. And it was COVID, it was lockdown. So I was really isolated. And I realized that I was either going to sink or I had to find something to hold on to. I had to swim. So it seemed unconnected at the time. Sorry, this is turning into a bit of a story. But I also needed to give up smoking because I have emphysema, problems with my lungs. And after my husband died, I was smoking really heavily, with the stress. So like 3 o'clock one morning, I'm on the laptop like this. And I thought, I've tried everything else. I might as well try hypnotherapy because I don't know what it's like there, but hypnotherapy is not that valued in the UK. People think it's like a stage show. It's a bit of a gimmick. It's a joke. It's not that effective. So I thought I might as well try hypnotherapy. I've tried everything else. So next morning, fired off a few emails to places I found online. And the next morning, this guy got in touch and we did a session. And at the end of it, he said to me, have you got any questions, Anna? And I swear I do not know where the words came from, right? I opened my mouth and said, yeah, you do know you're going to teach me how to be a hypnotherapist, don't you? And I was like, I don't even know where that came. And he was like, no, 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 no. He says, I don't teach. I'm retired. And he went, how did you know I used to teach? I said, I don't know anything about you. I just know your name, Stan. I've got a phone number, an email address, and your name, Stan. I said, nothing. And he says, yeah, yeah. He said, I've taught for like years and years. I've taught in universities, colleges, and, been a hypnotherapist for over 50 years. And I was like, well, there you go then. And he was like, yeah, but I just told you I'm retired. I'm not interested. Well, this was on a Friday. So I just said, oh, well, don't rush, Stan. Have a think about it over the weekend and give me a ring back on Monday. And he was like, you're not listening to me. I don't want to teach you. I don't know how many times I have to say it. And I was like, okay, just think about it. Monday, he phoned me and he said, I don't know what it is, but he said, I'm going to teach you and there's no fee.
Wow.
And he has never taught anybody one-to-one before. He really immersed me. I mean, he worked me hard, made me study, practice. Just really an amazing guy. And it was only after, as I say, this was through lockdown, it was only after a couple of years that I realized why he'd done it. He was terminally ill also. And I think that he decided to pass on his knowledge to somebody, which is a beautiful gift.
Well, it's so nice that you were intuitive enough to find that in him and get that connection. Now, the other thing is that he taught you. So this must be one of your mentors. What's his name?
His name is Stanley Barnes. Unfortunately, he passed just before Christmas. So my main mentor has gone, which is kind of scary. But when he was ill, I was going over and staying at his house and cooking for him, doing some cleaning while he was ill. And I sort of shared that time with his sister. And I kept saying, well, I'm not ready to be out there on my own, Stan. And he was like, no, you are. You are, because you haven't gone into this young. You've got life experience, you've got experience of working with other modalities, and you will always find people to guide you. And I've trained with another amazing woman called Jackie Balloch in Canada as well. And Jackie's amazing. She's always there if I've got any questions or need any support, So it's been great. It's been quite a journey, but it's been amazing.
So on your journey now, I noticed that you got the Reiki and you got this, but as you said earlier, the main thing is the love and the human contact and the reaching out and the smiles. So I noticed that there must be a lot here, especially with all of your nonprofit organization and a lot of the work that you do, the volunteer work and stuff like that. So my question is, did that stem out of that whole recovery stuff where you got connected in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I've always known that love is the answer to everything. I was brought up to believe that, love is the key, love is the answer. That's not to say that you can let people walk all over you or mistreat you. I don't mean that, but essentially, if the situation's good, give it some more love, because there's always room for more. And if the situation's crap, try giving it some love. It might just improve. I'm quite a hothead. I used to be quite, if you piss me off, I could explode quite easily. Now I don't. I just smile and I'm like, okay, I've learned enough about trauma now. So what are they dealing with? What are they going through? Kicking off on them isn't going to help. Shouting at them is not the answer. By giving them a little bit of love. And usually it works. There's never too much love in this world, never.
And I have to sit here and laugh because when we came in here and before we even started this interview,
Yeah.
I said, I'm from California. I said, where are you from? You said, you're from Liverpool. You said, don't make a Beatles reference. And now you're telling me love, love, love. All we need is love. So, in a way, I guess that Liverpool connection does have a little bit of a play on you, doesn't it?
Maybe it does. Maybe it does. But with all the love, with unconditional love, the most important thing is strong boundaries.
Strong boundaries. So what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, in any relationship, whether it's your partner, your family, people that you work with, if you are coming from a place of love, then you have to have strong boundaries. Otherwise, you could be perceived as being weak, or do you know what I mean? So you have to have boundaries with that love. You can't just give endlessly of yourself.
Well, is it that strong boundaries, or is it that you just need to love yourself?
Oh, both. I would say absolutely both are key. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned a couple of your mentors. Do you have any other mentors that you really look up to that have helped guide you to get to where you are?
Not mentors particularly, but people that I like. I really enjoy watching what they do, follow them on YouTube, or I've signed up for their videos that you can watch. I really like Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson, just because they make me laugh as much as anything. And I'm not interested in people who take life too seriously. Life's hard enough, man. We don't need to make everything we do serious. So anyone that can make me laugh, and those two are quite funny. And it's I love to see as many different styles and examples of hypnotherapy, because I haven't been doing it for that long, and because I don't have a direct living mentor at the moment in this country. So I'm also on a few Facebook groups, which, it's easy to kind of go, oh, Facebook groups, but actually some of these groups, the particularly, there's a women's hypnotherapy group and also one called Meeting of Minds. They're just amazing. The people in them are so supportive and informative that it's for me, it's an absolute goldmine of information, support, guidance. I like your podcasts too, because they're always a bit crazy.
And what craziness do you plan to bring to us today?
Oh no craziness today. This is it. It's just a little chat. Just a little chat.
I'm just playing with you. So let me ask you another question. So you work with these clients and you do a lot of stuff with the reiki stuff too, with the hypnosis. So
Yeah.
is there any particular time when you were working with someone and you were like, wow, I can't believe that that's just happened, and it just feels, where you had that feeling and that shift inside?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people get big shifts. Stuff that knocks me off my feet more is when I get really direct connections to stuff. And people always say you shouldn't mix modalities, or there's no room for X, Y, and Z in Reiki or in hypnotherapy. But when I'm working, I often see quite strong images that, when I speak to people after the session, usually means something to them. And that's really good, because that gives them a sense maybe of what their ancestors are trying to say to them. Where's the support coming from? I'm big on de-colonising mental and emotional well-being. Okay, so just to backtrack slightly, everything that I've been taught, and I've done a few different courses now, everything I've been taught concentrates very much on European and North American white men who have achieved this and taught us this and created this in hypnotherapy or in NLP, and I'm not knocking any of what anybody's done. But trance work, and I know there's an argument, people say, well, trance work isn't the same as hypnotherapy, but basically trance work has been used for healing for thousands of years across the globe by every culture. And I'm really, really engaged and very keen on looking at our cultural heritage. All of us, most of us, are some kind of mix as well. It's not one thing or another. And also to look at traditional wisdom, which is that physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being are one, and they have to be looked at holistically. Whereas in the modern world at the moment, if you have a physical ailment, you go to the doctor. If you have mental issues, you might speak to family members, you might go for therapy, you might say nothing because you're ashamed of it. There's a lot of stigma around mental health. If you've got emotional issues, you might lock yourself away and cry. You might turn to alcohol, drugs to relieve the pain. You might speak to family members. Spirituality, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with that in the West. Very few people go to church. And I'm not advocating going to church particularly, but that sense of spirituality seems to be lost, very much lost for people. So when I'm out in the community, what Ubuntu does when we work is that we remind people that all those elements are important, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. They have to be in balance. So if we do healing, just for example, we might make some prayers to the ancestors and then to whatever your faith is. And we have Muslims, Christians, atheists, Rastas, we have all different faiths coming, in a group together. So it's like, make your prayers, make your offerings in your way. We do drumming to raise the energy and to bring the ancestors in. Then we might have meditation. Then we will talk about whatever issues come up. And we don't set a theme for the talks. We find that each time that we meet with people from the community, it will come up organically. So one time it might concentrate largely on bereavement. Another time, I don't know, it's different every time. So what we find is that allowing people to have that safe space where they can balance all those elements, you start to get true well-being. It's an organic process then.
And it sounds like they're interlocked. I mean, I see this anyway with meditation, trance, faith, prayer. All this is pretty much a lot of the similar path, isn't it?
I would say so. And people like to pigeonhole everything, but we're very much about demystifying it all, taking all the crap out of all of it. If you come together as people with one purpose, you create something magical. And in that moment, you are a community, So if you've ever been to, I don't know, a football match or a baseball match or something, or a big music event where there's loads of people and the crowd's like going wild, that energy is incredible. That's the energy that human beings can create when they come together with one purpose. If you go into a house of worship of any religion anywhere in the world, you feel this amazing sense of peace and beauty because people are coming together with the same purpose. So, and that's kind of harken back to what I was saying originally about that sense of connection, which we're losing so much. Certainly in the UK, our communities have been ripped apart by town planning and redevelopments. People don't know their neighbours. They come out the house, they get in the car, they drive somewhere. They maybe wave occasionally at a neighbour. We've lost that sense of community. People aren't coming together as a community in church. They're not coming together as a community in a community centre because the government's closed them all. So to start to try to create that again, it just seems like it's the foundation stone. It instinctively feels very, very important.
So for you doing all your volunteer work or your nonprofit work, you're creating that sense of community. But that said, in order to get that sense of community, you still need to get that sense of connection inside with, what do you call it, source, God, or whatever. So my question is, what do you do to get in touch with that sense of strength inside you? Because we're on your highway today. So
what do I do? Okay. I don't usually discuss this very much at all. I do ceremony at home, either on my own or with one or two other people that I'm close with as friends. And we do some meditation, we make some offerings, we usually build a small altar of whatever takes our fancy on the day. It's not a prescribed thing. And we basically go into some meditation. We might do cacao, or we might take a few mushrooms and just allow the experience to just really happen to us. And that connection, I wouldn't call it religious, spiritual, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And so that gets you connected to that source of love.
Yeah.
And then with that source once you feel connected? I know that you said you do the volunteer work and everything, but are there other places where you express this?
Yeah, I suppose all the time. When I'm with my friends, when I'm with my family, it's being expressed. One of the places that I feel most connected with whatever it is actually on the dance floor. When you just let go and you're one with the music and nothing else matters. That for me, that's soul food. That's deep. That's some deep shit.
So that's kind of your connection too, is through dance.
Very much, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now since we're on your highway and everything here, let's talk to our viewers and let them know how they can reach you if they want to get a hold of you or they want to, get some help or anything like that or get connected.
Okay.
How can they reach you?
At the moment, I'm still building a website, which is shameful 4 years on. I'm not very technologically gifted. I do have email. I do have Facebook. I can be connected, contacted through my email and through Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Anna Tallulah. And I can give write an email address at the end of this, I guess, to give out to people. The only place really that there's a solid contact for me online, an online presence, is that I'm the member of the Past Life Therapists Association in the UK for this part of the UK, and they have a directory. So the Past Life Therapists Association, if you go on the directory, I'm in there as well.
Nice. So what's your plans for the future here? Anna, what do you plan to do now? What's next?
World domination. I don't know. Spread the love revolution, spread the well-being revolution. There's just such a need. So many people are really struggling emotionally. You've only got to look at levels of alcoholism, drug use, depression, anxiety. It's sky high, and people, a lot of people don't have faith in mainstream medical services. The mainstream medical services fail most people when it comes to anything sort of emotional or mental health related. If you want to go private and pay and get a better service, not everyone's got that income. So I just think there's a huge need for us to spread what we're doing with Ubuntu, which at the moment services quite a small community. Liverpool's Black community is quite small. We really would love to move out and have a wider reach to reach more people. But so yeah, expand what we do within communities or help communities set up their own groups as well to start looking at their own needs within their own communities, because each community knows itself better than an outsider can. But also just practical things like get my shit together and actually get my website up and running.
Nice. Well, let me ask you, do you have any words of wisdom?
Keep the faith. Just keep the faith. Just hold on to something each day. Hold on to something each day. I watched a talk by Ayanna Van Zandt once, and she said, when all else fails, there's always chocolate. And she's right. If everything else fails, there's chocolate.
Yeah. So I got to watch that chocolate. I pick up quite a bit of weight when I go to that chocolate all the time. So I got to watch that. So wonderful. Hey, it's been wonderful traveling down your highway. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Not really. It's been a real pleasure. I'm really glad you invited me on. Thank you very much.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you for coming, and thanks for allowing us to travel down your magical psyche highway, Anna. And so today, viewers, we'd like to thank you for coming. If you'd like us, give us the thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, give us a thumbs down. We don't care. We're just glad you're here. We're glad you're on the show. Please come back next week, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.